Hi there again. Welcome back to Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast with my colleague and employee and my friend Nora Nykänen. This is part 1 about employer branding professional growth journey with my guest Nora Nykänen. As I explained last week, she won the Employer Branding Professional of the Year award at Magnet Awards Finland 2024. And like last week, this week, we continue talking about her professional career, her growth story, and what she thinks about being an employer branding professional. So let's get back to the episode with Nora Nykänen. Throughout your career growth at Emine, how have you seen the intersection of personal ambition, your personal ambition, and strategic coaching with me play out in your success?
That's a really good question again. And
this is from ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah, it's really good question.
You artificial intelligence for providing us with great question.
I think your mentoring and coaching has had a huge impact on my professional development. I would say that everything I know about employer branding today, I've learned from you. Also, you have offered me various sources where to find more information and more inspiration, like, for example, links, books, articles, social media videos, whatever. And that has been really helpful too. Also, like that, you have given me room to figure out myself too, that you don't always give me direct answers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you have helped me if there's something completely new and so on. But I think that have boosted my confidence as an EB professional, that I can figure out myself and try things. And also, I think the personal ambition is also very important in this role, that you are curious to learn more and more and actively search for information and inspiration. And I think those are the things that are on top of my mind at the moment. But yeah, it has had a huge impact on my professional development. And yeah, you are my guiding light on this professional journey. So
thank you. So now that you have won the Employer Branding Professional of the Year award, the title, you have it. What's next? What is your professional vision in employer branding?
That's really good question. First of all, I want to keep learning more and more. I never think that I'm ready. And that
we share that, and I think that's one of the sort of the superpowers of us.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, and it's really crucial in this role. I still want to deepen my expertise, because I believe this is an industry where one is never truly done and ready. And as I mentioned, it's a journey of a continuous learning, and I aspire to be at the forefront of innovation in this EB market with our Emine team, and pioneering new approaches also. And I also seek to further develop and strengthen my personal brand. Yeah,
good.
And moreover, that's something I want to learn more about. And it would be wonderful to educate and coach more and more future EB professionals, sharing insights, inspiration, and help them to succeed. And that's actually one of the best part about this role and my job, that I see others succeed. So
we can definitely give you more opportunities also to coach.
I would love to.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite natural for me.
I think so too.
That I love to help people and see them succeed. So
we have
love to do that.
Lots of clients who would agree with that statement about you. Absolutely. Now, looking at the bigger picture, how do you think that the magnetic employer branding method as an approach to employer branding has shaped this EB community and this landscape in Finland?
I think it has shaped it massively. Employer branding, as we know, is all about differentiating yourself from the competition, and the magnetic employer branding method has done just that with our clients. And the secret is the uniqueness and the science used in that method, and no one else does that in that way.
Mhm.
So yeah, in a good way, we also challenge our clients to do things differently, what they might have used to. And I think that's the key, to get those aha moments and try something new. And I think the magnetic employer branding method plays crucial role in educating and developing our aspiring EB pros in the market. We coach a bunch of EB professionals or aspiring ones in
Mhm.
yearly basis. And personally, I think that with our unique approach, they get information and learnings that they won't get anywhere else. And
Mhm.
that helps them to stand out from the crowd, from the competition, as an attractive employers, and also as a top-notch professionals themselves. So
For me, as somebody who obviously developed and designed the whole method, I feel like I'm too deep in it. But but would you say that because it's such a like a systematic structure with like the candidates journey of the information era being like the communications framework for that ongoing communication process, what's your feeling? Like, does that help to understand like what you're supposed to do in employer branding?
yeah, the candidate journey of
Yeah,
information.
yeah, the
Yeah,
structure.
yeah, I think that helps a lot because yeah, I've been coaching and talking and discussing with our clients about that, and every time I go through the individual steps, I see that they get that aha moment, and they often say to me that, okay, now I understand, and that this is really easy to understand, and this
Yeah,
is very logical also.
yeah. Was it
Yeah,
like that for you as well when you started to learn more about employer branding?
I feel like, yeah, it was
Yeah,
easy to understand the different stages, and yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
would say so.
I have such an engineer brain, even though I'm not
Yeah.
engineer by education, that
Yeah,
I like,
EB engineer.
I like systems. I feel like I need to
Yeah.
organize and have structures. And this is not just
Yeah.
in employer branding, but in life too.
Mm,
I'm very like a
yeah.
structured, organized, systematic
Yeah.
person when it comes to thinking. I may not be that, like if you just saw like behind the screen my floor at the moment, it's not
Mm.
very organized. I just moved everything to clean clean the view for the video. But yeah, so for me it was always very important to have that kind of a structure when I started to design that method. It was also like for me to understand, like, how do we do employer branding? Like, what if we did it like this? Would it then
Yeah.
be logical? Would
Yeah.
I understand then what happens now? What next? What are the steps? And if I just repeat this, what
Mm.
happens? So
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
my thinking behind it. Because oftentimes, like coming from, because I've also done recruitment in my career,
Mm.
I've done tons of recruitment campaigns as an in-house HR, then
Mm.
as a recruitment consultant, because I did that as well. The part of my tech business we did for a few years recruitment consultancy, because obviously we
Mm.
were testing our app and we getting money to turn
Mm.
revenue to build the app. When you
Yeah.
work in such a campaign based world
Mm.
of talent acquisition and recruiting, if you don't think about it in a way of having a structure, but you don't need that kind of structure in it when you have like, okay, we have 2 weeks time to promote this job, and then we start the selection process. So
Yeah.
there's not a much, there's not a lot of time that you need to structure. But like with employer branding, it's not campaigns, so you need a kind of a structure, like what is the plan that I need to follow if this is a bloody marathon, if this is 42 kilometers, and I have, I can't just like be here and there and all over the place. I have to move forward like systematically to reach the the finish line. So
exactly, and usually when clients approach us, they are usually quite stressed out. They don't know what to do, and that stresses them out. And when we tell them about this, they get the peace of mind because this has a structure and we have the plan, and then they can like they don't need to stress out anymore. So I think that is a big thing for them. So
it's also, I think, big thing for us to work with them, because it's easier for us to sort of support them, like, hey, we have this plan, we have this structure, you can actually say no to those ideas and to those suggestions and those requests, because they are not part of the strategy. This plan is your employer branding strategy for now, and that has been sort of approved in your organization. So you can actually block all those things that are like just messing you up and stressing you out. So I think that's a big value as well, that the ability to say like, no, that's not what we do. That's not what that is not what we're using this budget for, because that is not helping us to get to our goals. Or say like, listen, that's a really good idea. Can you reiterate it in a way that it fits here, so that it supports, getting this or reaching this goal? Because that's what we also do. You work a lot with our clients, like I get to do as well. If you think about, some of our clients, can you share any like a specific project or a specific moment that you feel that epitomizes the success of this method?
Sure, and I'll pick a recent one. It's Airbus Finland, who just won the Creating an Employer Brand category in Magnetic EB Awards, and they actually did it using our magnetic employer branding method. So yeah, and first of all, I think that our client, colleague, buddy Maju Karppinen has shown a perfect example of how to execute the EB strategy consistently week by week and according to a plan. And it's so rewarding to see that they have made employer branding a priority, and it means a lot to them. And if we go back in time, in late 2022, Maju reached out to us for help. And basically, Airbus was primarily associated with airplanes, despite focusing on critical communications software in Finland. And moreover, their business was undergoing significant transformation, leaving employees feeling a bit lost. And an intense talent competition and frequent hiring challenges threatened their transformation and successful business strategy execution. So they knew something had to change for them to stay competitive as an employer for their current and future talent. So yeah, we jumped into action and arranged a meeting. And according to Maju, it was our unique method, the magnetic employer branding method, that immediately convinced her and them that we were the perfect partner to kickstart their EB journey. And then we crafted a comprehensive master plan, employer branding strategy framework, and the content plan to kick things off. And with the strategy and content plan in place, we continued collaborating on creating engaging weekly EB content using Trello for our seamless collaboration. And I think the best part is the results, the numbers again. So we've seen remarkable progress, and we dive deep into data and analytics in our monthly collaboration. And EB Work has provided them with a significant tool for leadership And in less than a year, Airbus saw an all-time high number of applications for their trainee program, even though applications isn't like EB goal, but yeah, it tells us
it's a side effect.
yeah, exactly. And also I would say their social media numbers exploded, and yeah, you can go ahead and and see them on our recent social media posts on Emineland's profile. And moreover, employees and the top management also are actively engaged, eagerly contributing to EB initiatives and seeking ways to be involved. And I think Airbus is the perfect example of how the magnetic employer branding method ideally works, engaging people inside and outside of the company, and the return of investment is quite big and nice to see that kind of results. So yeah, I think that's one good example.
I have to say here that I think, because obviously we've done the magnetic employer branding strategy for like many clients, and not all of them have ever achieved anything even close to this. And you could say like, well, is it the method that's just not good, or what is it? And I think that the biggest difference here is that Airbus wanted to then implement and execute the strategy together with us. And obviously, we're not thinking that they will forever be, paying for us to work side by side with them on a weekly basis. But I know that they will do it based on the results until they can resource an internal EB team to do the same, and that they have learned from us all the adequate skills and the knowledge of how to do this. Because I find that the biggest, the struggle I feel that in employer branding development is that the budgets that the companies have, they are limited to just getting done like the plan, but not to actually implement and execute it. And when you don't have the resources for the work, getting your hands dirty because you've never done it, so it's not part of your role, you've not scheduled it, and you don't have the adequate skills how to do it, like the most updated social media and content creation skills, and you don't have the time that you need to invest in getting those skills and doing that hard work of learning how to do it, then you're not going to actually implement and execute it. So you bought a plan. It's like buying a, architect's drawing for a beautiful house, but then not getting anyone to build the house, and you also not having the time nor the skills to do it yourself. So your plot of land is empty and there will never be a house. So developing and building an employer brand is not just, creating your EVB or creating your website or creating this magnetic employer branding strategy or whatever strategy that you have or you create. There's more weight that has to go into executing it. And Airbus also had a limited budget. So we've had to cut out on many elements that ideally we would have done and what we suggested them to do. And then we realized that if you actually want to get these results, let's invest more into the actual execution part together with us than all the development of the career side and all this and that and the other. And this is the outcome. If you're not executing your employer branding plan, you're not building a brand. Nobody knows anything more about you if it's on the PowerPoint presentation somewhere on the file. So I think that's the ultimate thing here, is that they actually trusted to invest in the method and then invest in this collaboration. And this is what it resulted in. Yeah. And we have other examples too, but this is the most recent one because they won the award. So as our final question, what advice would you, Nora, give to someone who is considering a career in employer branding and is inspired by your achievements?
A really good question. And I would say go for it, first of all. And I have actually 3 tips. Starting with a recruitment role might be the best move, I would say, or with a role where you'll get the 360 view of the company and its people. I began my career in recruitment, and I found it incredibly beneficial for my work in employer branding too, because recruiting gives you that ringside view of the company and its people. You get insight into the various aspects of the business, understanding the challenges, the pain points that employer branding aims to address. And knowing how the company operates helps you talk the same way as the management and making it easier to get their buy-in for your employer branding initiatives. So that's my number 1 tip. And then I would say stay curious and keep learning. Curiosity and a thirst for knowledge are essential in this role. Staying curious and continuously seeking knowledge keeps you also at the top of your game and equips you to innovate in the realm of employer branding. And I would love to give an extra tip, and that is to listen to the Building a Magnetic Employer Brand podcast by Susanna. So that's, you can start there. So and then of course persistence pays off. So success doesn't happen overnight, as we know. Employer branding is a long-term endeavor that requires dedication, hard work, and in this role you must have the foresight to envision long-term goals and diligently execute your plan on a daily basis, and also remember to have fun while doing it. That's actually really, I would say, crucial part of it. Even though you have a clear goals and objectives you want to achieve, and this is hard work, employer branding should be also fun. And that is something we actually remind our clients quite often too. So those would be my 3 tips.
Really good tips. I want to go a little bit deeper with the first tip, which is going on with recruiting. I also agree that because I've had the full Monty of an HR career. I worked in-house HR, developing. I've done everything from developing HR processes to coaching supervisors, and I've worked in recruiting and employer branding and developing company culture. I've done everything. So I would say that recruiting is the best way or the best road into employer branding, as long as you are ready to understand that mindset, that this is not about recruiting. Because I would say that even though it's really important to have that internal knowledge about the product that we are actually building the brand for, called the authentic company culture and the employee experiences, working in-house keeps your mindset also in-house. And when you work in talent acquisition, you have to think outside the organization. You have to be interested in people outside the organization, approach them. You have to be interested in your competition for the same talent. What's going on the talent market? Who's hiring the same talent now? What are your competitors doing? So you have to take this kind of an outside-in view, which helps you to learn more and recognize more what are your weak points or your strengths and things like that. So, because I think one of the weaknesses in employer branding for a lot of people are that they don't remember that they are not operating in a void, but there's a whole world out there, and the talents are not only looking at them or paying attention to them, or maybe they're not paying attention to them at all because someone else, some competitor, or some people working for a competing organization are far more interesting, and they prefer to pay attention to those. people or organizations instead. So I think that's really good. Number two, curiosity, super important, because if you have this drive to continuously learn and keep yourself, ahead of the game, because that is the biggest driving motivator for me as an entrepreneur and as an employer branding professional, is that as long as my brain works, I want to be the best in the world in employer branding. And that is like the biggest motivator for me to keep learning and making sure that I am constantly up to date on the relevant information, the knowledge, the skills, what goes on in the world, and how and in the business operating environments, and how to make employer branding an important thing for the top management. And so you have to like be on the top of that, but you also have to be in that curiosity and in that learning mind. You have to be able to prioritize the information that you do need, because the world is full of information and you can't be on the top of everything. So you have to prioritize, I need this information is more valuable for us and our clients than this one. So I'd rather spend this time that I have available on this one. So that's also important. The ability to say no. And then fun. Yeah, because definitely we are having fun with our clients with whom we, do this work. So definitely it's really rewarding. Has to be.
Yeah, and it can get quite stressful when you have those goals and objectives. So remember to have fun along the way. So
I mean, those goals and objectives, it's not like they come easy. I mean, we do a lot of work. We put in a lot of work. But because of this systematic approach, we don't have to reinvent the wheel over and over again. And with our Trello system, there's this whole archive of information and content and copy text and links and everything that we can reapply and reuse and repurpose, reshare. So that's we also have a system of being smart with your time investment, don't we? All right. Nora, thank you so much for your time and just seeing who you are. I love working with you. And as said, it has been, happiest time of my employee or the entrepreneur career, the time that, I've had with you, working together with you. I mean, we've had amazing employees in the past as well. So this is no means I've loved all the employees who have ever worked for us and who have ever been able to work with. It's not that. It's just that during the times before, the way that I had organized my work was so stressful. I didn't get to spend as much time in a way working together with any of those former employees that I get to work with you now. So I wish I would have, looking back, but you can't. So that's why it's a really happy time now. Nora, a lot of our audience are probably following you already, but if somebody is not and they would like to connect with you, where can they find you best? What's your preference?
I would say the best way to find me is either on LinkedIn or on Instagram. And on Instagram, you can find me at Nora Nykänen. That could be a bit difficult for
I'll put it in the show notes
outside of Finland, but Nora Nykänen, and then Nora Nykänen on LinkedIn. So
and Nora's Instagram is so aesthetic. If you love aesthetic Instagram, then you love her profile. I don't have an aesthetic Instagram because I'm pushing out all this educational content.
It is aesthetic. Your Instagram as well.
I guess it's also actually because your style in everything is very earthy, very what is this, in a way low key and very harmonious.
Yeah, it's quite minimalistic also.
It's minimalistic, yes. I am not a minimalistic person in any aspect. So I guess my Instagram is looks like me and yours looks like you.
Yeah, as it should. Yeah,
As
and I
it
like to
should.
I like to think that as a like a visual diary or something that I like taking pictures and editing them
Yeah,
and so on. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you can go check them
Cool.
out. But yeah,
Yes, yes, you should.
thank you
You
so
should.
much.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for such a great time. I hope you had a good time. Me and Nora had a good time, and loved being able to share Nora's growth story with you and the impact of the magnetic employer branding method and this podcast with her becoming the best employer branding professional of the year in Finland. So definitely an amazing thing. Go connect with her and engage with her on socials. As said, this is the end of this 2-week episode. So last week was part 1. This week part 2, and hopefully next week we have Maiju from Airbus Finland, and after that it's going to be a hiatus for this podcast until I get that magnetic employer branding method book out to the editor. So that's it. Thank you, everyone. Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye bye.